Marcus's pulse hammered. Annexation meant Karen aimed to force his parcel into HOA control, retroactively. He dialed Julian. Emergency. At the law office, Julian sprawled maps across a conference table. Rosewood Park HOA boundaries are recorded with the county. Expanding requires unanimous board approval, 2/3 homeowner vote, plus county commission sign-off. He traced a red pen. They can petition, but it's a steep climb. Still, the threat alone can be nuisance enough. Marcus exhaled. What's our counter? File an objection. Also, harassment and fraud claims strengthen your position. If we show she weaponized HOA machinery to target you, county board will hesitate. They drafted a cease and desist, citing trespass, harassment, defamation, and fraudulent misrepresentation. Julian copied Karen, the HOA board, and the county clerk. He also demanded preservation of all HOA communications regarding annexation. Nothing scares amateurs like discovery, he said. That afternoon, a sheriff deputy served Karen the letter. Marcus observed from his porch as she scanned the pages, face blotching crimson. She crumpled the envelope, hurled it at her garage door, and vanished inside. By Monday, Marcus received a chorus of emails from supportive neighbors. Some forwarded screenshots of Karen begging for urgent board votes, complaining Marcus had unleashed dangerous animals and tarnished the HOA's reputation. One board member, Elaine Porter, messaged privately, "I never approved that party. I'm appalled. Considering resignation." Julian advised patience. "Give them rope," he said. "They'll twist themselves in knots." In the meantime, Marcus itemized every cent of loss: groceries, propane, robe replacement, lawn repair. Total, $1,482.32. Julian added punitive damages for trespass. Thursday brought a formal notice from Karen's attorney husband, Grant, "Our clients deny all wrongdoing. Your threatening dogs caused emotional distress, we will pursue damages." Julian rolled his eyes. Cute. Countersuit. He filed for theft of services, property damage, and harassment, attaching video stills, receipts, and Officer Delgado's report. The escalation unnerved Naomi, who worried lawsuits could drag for months. Marcus reassured her, though anxiety nested under his ribs, fluttering at odd hours. He coded late into nights, headphones blasting lo-fi beats, trying to drown the legal static. Then came the turning point. Friday noon, Naomi burst into his home office holding her phone. "Check Facebook." The viral video had escaped neighborhood confines, reposted by a local news blogger under the headline, "HOA President Throws Unauthorized Pool Bash, Gets Schooled by Homeowner." Comments exploded, some cheering, others debating race, property rights, dog breeds. Within hours a regional TV reporter requested an interview. Marcus declined but forwarded the link to Julian. Media glare spooked the HOA board. Elaine Porter called Marcus in tears. "We're meeting tonight to discuss Karen. Can you share raw footage?" He emailed the clips. At 9 p.m. a group email arrived, "Special HOA session results, President Karen McAllister suspended pending investigation." Marcus read it twice, adrenaline easing. Not resignation yet, but close. Naomi hugged him. Progress. He hugged back, grateful yet wary. Karen still had claws, and a lawyer husband. But sunlight disinfected, and more was on the way. Saturday morning news vans rolled down Willow Lane like carnival floats. Marcus sipped coffee on his porch, politely declining interviews. He released a single statement: "Trespass and harassment are matters for law enforcement and the courts. I trust the process." The journalist frenzy nonetheless painted Karen as the suburban archetype gone wild. So much so that memes sprouted, Karen lounging in a random pool with captions like "HOA? More like Noya." Inside HOA circles, panic blossomed. Marcus's inbox filled with half-apologies from board members, disclaimers that they never approved the annexation motion. Elaine Porter resigned, citing ethical conflict. 2 other members sought Marcus's guidance on damage control. He referred them to Julian, no free consultations. Karen, however, doubled down. A letter arrived on legal stationery accusing Marcus of spearheading a racially charged smear campaign. She threatened a defamation suit for loss of reputation and business. M&M Realty's phone had reportedly been ringing off the hook with cancelled listings. Julian smirked. Defamation requires false statements. You posted raw video. Truth is absolute defense. He drafted a response threatening anti-SLAPP sanctions if she proceeded. That evening, a vigil of sorts formed. Neighbors gathered with folding chairs on Marcus's lawn, invited first by Naomi, then by word of mouth, to grill hot dogs and discuss community standards. Someone set up a projector, they replayed the pool party clip, froze it on Karen wearing the robe. Laughter mixed with discomfort. It wasn't schadenfreude, Marcus realized, but collective reckoning. They'd let Karen rule unchecked. During the gathering, Shadow and Tank roamed happily among kids, accepting belly rubs. One mother commented, "They're sweethearts, not weapons." Marcus thanked her, pleased perception was shifting. Sunday came with another surprise. Officer Delgado phoned. "Thought you'd want this update, DA's filing misdemeanor trespass and theft charges against Karen and 2 others. They'll receive summons." Marcus felt a weight lift. Process was moving. Late that night Karen posted a 600-word diatribe on the HOA site, claiming she'd been set up and targeted for caring about property values. The post was taken down within an hour, but screenshots metastasized across Reddit. Sympathy for Karen hit new lows. The annexation petition languished. County commissioners publicly opposed absorbing a property whose owner clearly objected and whose annexation paperwork appeared forged, dates altered, missing signatures. Julian flagged every inconsistency. With legal ground crumbling, Karen's supporters dwindled. Even her husband seemed to retreat. Rumors said he'd advised her to settle. Marcus stayed outwardly calm but fatigued under endless email pings. Naomi booked them a weekend cabin in Shenandoah to breathe mountain air and let the dogs chase deer scents. They returned Monday to find the gate replaced, brand new hardware, note attached, to Marcus and Naomi, apology in progress. HOA board. Karen had one chess move left, an invitation to mediation. Julian suggested attending only if sessions were recorded. Marcus agreed, expecting fireworks. Instead, Karen arrived with a thin smile and an envelope of cashier's checks, reimbursement for damages, robe replacement, legal fees deposit. She spoke through clenched teeth. "To end this circus." Marcus replied, "The circus started in my pool." They drafted a settlement contingent on Karen's resignation, public apology, and withdrawal of annexation. She balked, but the lawyer husband nodded, eyes tired. "Sign it," he murmured. 2 hours later it was done. Karen's signature looped beneath terms Julian had written, the ink unsteady. Marcus shook her hand, firm, professional, cold. This was closure, not friendship. But one more act remained, and it wouldn't be written in legalese. The HOA convened a special meeting in the elementary school gymnasium to ratify Karen's resignation. Metal folding chairs scraped wood floors as residents shuffled in, whispers ricocheting off cinderblock walls. Marcus sat near the back with Naomi and a calm Shadow at his feet. Tank stayed home, 2 dogs might overdo it. Acting President Harold Greer banged a gavel on a lectern borrowed from the drama club. "We're here to address leadership transition and incident remediation." Murmurs quieted. Karen sat in the front row, posture rigid, lips pressed. Harold summarized events: unauthorized gathering, trespass charges, attempted annexation, without full procedural transparency. He then read Karen's resignation letter word for word. It included a brief apology for any distress. Not exactly contrition, but enough for legal closure. Floor open for comments. An older resident, Mrs. Long, rose. I lent Karen my folding tables believing the party had permission. I feel deceived. Applause rippled. A teenager recounted losing her flip-flops in Marcus's yard scramble, laughter lightened tension. Finally Harold offered Marcus the mic. He hesitated, public speaking about private drama wasn't his lane, but Naomi squeezed his hand. So he stood. Shadow sprang up, faithful sentinel. I moved to Rosewood Park for peace, Marcus said, voice carrying. What happened in my backyard wasn't a simple misunderstanding, it was a disregard for boundaries. But the bigger lesson is accountability. Titles, president, tech lead, homeowner, don't place us above respect. They raised the bar. He glanced at Karen. She looked away. I appreciate neighbors who reached out, those who called out wrongs, and the board for taking corrective action. I'm hopeful we can move forward with clearer lines and open dialogue. He returned the mic to Harold, who thanked him with an earnest nod. A vote confirmed Karen's resignation and elected Elaine Porter interim president. Elaine's first motion, a boundary respect and consent policy requiring homeowner sign-off for any event held on private property. Unanimous approval. Afterward, clusters formed in the parking lot. Some hugged Marcus, others offered free lawn service. Teenagers petted Shadow and joked about the legendary Rottweiler defense squad. Naomi chatted with new friends about a block potluck. Karen exited quickly, husband in tow, avoiding cameras. Her power waned, her empire of citations reduced to ash. Marcus watched without gloat, just quiet relief. Life could return to algorithms, pool floats he actually invited, and weekend ribs, seasoned with paprika, not outrage. The saga might have ended there, but the internet had its encore. A lifestyle YouTuber stitched the pool party footage into a commentary video titled HOA Gone Wild, When Karen Picks the Wrong House. Within 48 hours it hit 2 million views, spawning reaction clips, TikTok remixes, and a Spotify parody track, Get Out My Pool, Karen's Lament. Memes proliferated, a popular one showed Marcus opening the gate for Shadow and Tank above the text, deploying the K9 compliance unit. Another juxtaposed Karen floating a la Cleopatra with, property values rising, but not yours. Julian monitored defamation risk, thankfully, videos used public domain clips or credited Marcus. The attention ballooned Naomi's side hustle, hand-stitched monogram robes, because commenters kept asking, where can I get the robe Karen stole? Orders tripled. Local news eventually aired a feel-good segment, Marcus, Naomi, and the dog standing beside the newly repaired gate, cedar fresh and sturdy. Marcus reiterated the same message, respect boundaries. It's simple. Viewers responded with supportive emails, one offering free landscaping to repair lawn ruts. Even the sheriff's office joined the humor, tweeting a photo of Shadow wearing a junior deputy bandana, newest recruit, specializes in pool patrol. Karen, meanwhile, scrubbed her online presence. M&M Realty rebranded under her husband's name. Rumor said she'd moved listing meetings to a neighboring town to avoid side-eye in grocery aisles. Marcus and Naomi kept their heads down, installing a taller privacy fence approved by no one but themselves. They hosted a real party. Invites sent, RSVP required, to thank supportive neighbors. Burgers sizzled, Coltrane played, and Shadow and Tank wandered happily among guests who understood the house rules. When the sun dipped, Marcus raised a glass. To community built on choice, not coercion. Cheers echoed under fairy lights, sealing the new chapter. Months passed. Autumn painted Rosewood Park amber, and with each crunchy leaf Marcus felt the last bits of tension crumble. The legal settlement closed. Karen paid the agreed damages plus Naomi's robe surcharge. Trespass fines went to a local shelter, Marcus's stipulation in lieu of additional punitive fees. Shadow and Tank became minor celebrities at HOA events, yes, events the couple now attended by choice. Halloween saw the dogs in matching sheriff costumes, tails wagging as kids petted them rather than fleeing in terror. Marcus chuckled at the full-circle irony. Elaine's interim presidency turned permanent. Under her, the HOA focused on actual communal needs, fixing streetlights, coordinating a community garden, rather than nitpicking paint swatches. She often asked Marcus for tech advice on building a transparent email list. He obliged. Grateful leadership had pivoted from citations to collaboration. And Karen? She stayed, technically. Her Lexus appeared less frequently, her once daily sidewalk patrols vanished. Neighbors reported she'd joined a regional professional group championing positive community engagement. Marcus wished her genuine growth. People could change if consequences hurt enough. One crisp Sunday Naomi lounged in the new cedar hot tub, steam curling around her smile. Crazy that chaos started right here, she mused. Think we overreacted? Marcus took a thoughtful sip of apple cider bourbon. I reacted. She trespassed. Dogs live here. I opened a door. He met Naomi's eyes. Could have called cops first, but footage shows no harm. Naomi nodded. And maybe Shadow and Tank taught sharper lessons than any officer. They clinked mugs. Beyond the fence, maples rustled, content. Marcus had his peace back, earned and reaffirmed. If another boundary pusher arose, he knew the toolkit, documentation, calm, and, if absolutely necessary, two gentle giants happy to patrol their yard. Overhead, geese arrowed south, honking through the late afternoon sky. Seasons change. Some things don't. Respect, once claimed and defended, tends to stick, like a well-fastened gate no stranger can breach again. Comment down below where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe if you hate Karen. I bought my place in Rosewood Park 3 years ago, when I was 32 and hungry for a slice of silence after long days in the software trenches. The two-story Craftsman sat just beyond the welcome sign on Willow Lane, and the listing agent's first sentence sold me, no HOA. That meant no committees measuring grass height with rulers, no fines for a charcoal gray trim, and no letters about garbage cans left at the curb for an extra hour. I could paint my shutters turquoise if I felt like it and grill ribs at midnight without filling out a form in triplicate. In a suburb where most roofs were governed by the same 5-member board, that freedom felt priceless. The neighborhood's demographics were clear from the first open house. Mostly white families whose kids pedaled pastel bikes under maple shade. I stood out, a black guy in sneakers and a hoodie, but the mortgage pre-approval spoke louder than looks. Within a month I'd unpacked the last box and installed a small above-ground pool in the backyard, a gift to myself for making it through graduate school and years of coding deadlines. Only one neighbor consistently pierced the calm. Karen, the HOA president who lived next door even though our houses sat outside her jurisdictional map. Silver SUV, platinum blonde bob, clipboard in hand, she patrolled the sidewalks like they were airport runways. Her greetings came sugar-coated, interesting paint choice, Marcus. Very daring. Or, some folks wondered if your lawn service missed a week. When I reminded her my address wasn't under her HOA, she'd flash a smile that never touched her eyes. Oh, of course. Just being helpful. Some people need guidance. I didn't crave drama, I wanted weekends by the grill, headphones on, peace secured by a title deed that said, Marcus Bennett, sole owner. I had no idea how quickly that peace could evaporate. The first year in Rosewood Park unfolded exactly the way Marcus Bennett had imagined when he signed the closing papers, lazy Sunday mornings, the hiss of steak on the grill, and evenings drifting in the above-ground pool he'd assembled board by board. His tech job paid well enough to let him tinker with smart home gadgets, and the neighborhood, despite its mostly white, two-car garage uniformity, seemed content to let him live and let live. The sole wrinkle was the woman next door, Karen, president of the HOA that governed every house except Marcus's. Her influence radiated across cul-de-sacs like free Wi-Fi you could never turn off. Even residents who secretly grumbled about her power still waved when she drove by in her silver Lexus SUV, clipboard balanced on the passenger seat like a deputy's badge. Karen's first volley arrived as a handwritten note tucked beneath Marcus's doormat, friendly reminder, trash cans must be pulled in the same evening for curb appeal. He smiled, flipped the note over, and wrote, not in the HOA, but thanks. The next evening his recycling bin was mysteriously relocated from the side gate to the center of the driveway, blocking his path. He rolled it back, chalked it up to the wind, and went on with life. A month later Karen knocked while Marcus trimmed hedges. Bright color on that door, she said, eyeing the deep teal he'd chosen to complement the craftsman's stonework. Our palette guidelines trend earth tone. Have you considered oat or maybe driftwood gray? Marcus wiped sweat from his brow. I considered teal, he answered. Guidelines don't apply to 117, Willow Lane. She pursed her lips in a smile that looked like it hurt. Just trying to help some people fit in. It wasn't the words, it was the slant. Some people. The implication hung in humid air. Marcus refused to bite, instead inviting her to the neighborhood barbecue he was hosting that weekend. She never RSVP'd, though binocular flashes later that evening told him she knew exactly how many cars filled his driveway and how late the music lingered. Soon followed the lawn critiques, anonymous letters scolding him for unruly Bermuda grass height. Marcus continued mowing every other Saturday, same as everyone else, ignoring the static until one afternoon Karen made it explicit. He was cleaning the filter on the pool pump when she leaned over the back fence. I know you're technically outside the HOA, Marcus, she said, voice sweet as Splenda, but a few homeowners feel your property sets a tone. He straightened slowly, meeting her gaze. My lot was subdivided before the HOA existed, he said. County confirmed. Title reports airtight. She nodded, though the nod looked more like a mental tally mark. Paperwork only goes so far. Communities thrive on shared aesthetics. If those aesthetics include privacy and minding business, we're perfectly aligned, Marcus replied, climbing the deck stairs with deliberate calm. The pattern continued, drive-by glances, side-eyed comments, citations slipped into mailboxes around the block citing general disorder that magically never made it to Marcus's door, because legally they couldn't. Yet every citation referenced behaviors she had hinted Marcus might want to watch. A newer neighbor, Cecilia Perez, admitted Karen had told her, he's nice enough, but sometimes certain newcomers don't understand Rosewood standards. Marcus tried small diplomacy, waving when they both checked mail, offering extra tomatoes from his raised beds. The produce was accepted with an obligatory thanks, but the undercurrent remained. One August evening Karen lowered her voice to what she likely thought was a confidential whisper and told an elderly neighbor, some folks just buy the cheapest exterior lights. It drags everyone's value. She looked at Marcus's porch sconces while she said it. By the second year Marcus realized Karen's issue wasn't about grass length or paint color, it was about control, and the fact that his exemption from the HOA bylaws undermined hers. The rest of the board deferred to her, sure, but they still had to vote. Marcus, on the other hand, lived on an island of autonomy she couldn't reach unless invited. He installed security cameras, discreet, black, no blinking LEDs, and upgraded the dinky wooden latch on the side gate to a keypad deadbolt. He captured footage of Karen lingering near the fence with a tape measure, presumably checking the height of his hydrangeas against an imaginary standard. He archived every clip in a cloud folder titled K_log. Not because he planned to use them, because experience taught that documentation mattered. Life slogged on in relative détente until a Thursday in mid-May. Work finished early, code deploy approved ahead of schedule, so Marcus decided to surprise his wife, Naomi, with takeout from her favorite Thai place. Red curry aroma filled the Tesla as he eased onto Willow Lane, humming along to John Coltrane. He expected to slide into his driveway, sneak through the front door, and shout, "Date night ambush." Instead, he braked to a crawl halfway down the block. Cars jammed the curb clear to the cul-de-sac, minivans, sedans, even a Jeep plastered with HOA volunteer magnet decals. 2 compact cars sat halfway onto his lawn, tires creasing the turf he'd aerated last month. Multicolored balloons bobbed around his mailbox, strings tangled in the street sign. He killed the engine, heart knocking like bad valves. Music thumped from somewhere behind the house, Top 40 pop echoing over what should have been evening stillness. The side gate he'd locked that morning now gaped open, keypad dangling by loose screws. Fine curry scent curdled in Marcus's stomach. He set the takeout on the passenger seat, climbed out, and surveyed the scene. A toddler bounced a beach ball 2 feet from his sunflowers. A teenager sprinted toward the backyard, towels slung over her shoulder. Marcus's temple throbbed. He followed the echo of laughter toward his once tranquil sanctuary, hands balling into fists against his thighs. Whatever lay beyond that gate, he sensed, would redefine his understanding of neighborly boundaries, and of Karen's capacity for audacity. Marcus pushed through the gate and stopped dead. It was like stepping into someone else's Instagram feed. Neon pool floats, Bluetooth speaker blasting a pop playlist, kids cannonballing between inflatable flamingos. The beer pong table he stored under the deck had been hauled out, red cups aligned in pyramids across its vinyl top. Smoke rose from his gas grill, where a middle-aged man in aviators flipped burgers while chatting with a woman holding what looked suspiciously like Naomi's favorite margarita pitcher. But the epicenter, the image that scorched itself onto Marcus's brain, was Karen. She lounged on a pool float shaped like a golden swan, sunglasses perched atop her platinum bob, wearing a robe, a white terry one Marcus recognized instantly. It belonged to Naomi, monogrammed initials stitched in gold on the lapel. In one hand Karen cradled a chilled bottle of Marcus's microbrew, in the other she scrolled her phone, as relaxed as if the deed were in her name. For a full 10 seconds Marcus couldn't speak. The sensory overload, the music, the splash, the smell of his own cedar chips fueling an unauthorized barbecue, clashed with the neat compartments in his mind labeled acceptable. Then reflex took over. He stepped onto the patio pavers and raised his voice, projecting calm authority honed from client presentations. "Everyone, may I have your attention?" A few heads turned, but the music drowned him out. So he marched to the Bluetooth speaker, held down the power button until it chirped off. Silence fell in a ripple. Water sloshed, a can hissed open. 20-something faces stared at the man without a smile. Marcus spoke evenly. "I'm Marcus Bennett. This is my home. I didn't authorize this gathering. I need everyone to collect belongings and leave immediately." Scoffs and murmurs. The burger flipper shrugged, spatula midair. A college-aged girl whispered, "I thought this was the community pool." Karen slid off the float with theatrical grace, water sparkling off her shoulders. "Marcus, darling, you're back early." She climbed the ladder, robe dripping, and cinched the belt like a host greeting a VIP. "No need to panic. We're holding a quick HOA mixer. Just networking, boosting neighborhood spirit." Marcus's jaw clenched. "You know I'm not in the HOA. You also know this is trespassing." She laughed lightly. Details. The board thought it would be friendly to include everyone, even outliers. You weren't using the pool. Friendly doesn't involve breaking a lock, he said, nodding toward the gate hanging ajar. Karen's gaze flicked there, then back. It was unlatched. No, it was not. Marcus inhaled, measuring each word. "Gather your group. Leave. Now." Her smile thinned. "You people get so worked up over small things." The phrase sliced through him. He caught a collective intake of breath from a couple near the grill. They looked from him to Karen, sensing the temperature drop. Karen, perhaps realizing she'd exposed more than disdain for gate etiquette, quickly added, "I mean tech people, always so precise." But the damage was done. Rage coiled behind Marcus's calm facade. Still, he kept his voice level. "You have 60 seconds to begin exiting. After that, police will be called, and charges will be filed." Karen crossed her arms. "Call them. My husband's a lawyer. We'll sort it out." Marcus didn't answer. Instead, he pivoted, walked through the sliding glass door into the house, and headed straight for the laundry room. Two eager faces greeted him, Shadow and Tank, one brindle, one jet black, tails thumping against the walls. They'd been napping, but the scent of strangers and the agitation in Marcus's gait flipped a switch. He knelt, scratching behind ears. "Backyard, boys." He opened the door. For paws hit hardwood, nails clicking a staccato until they reached the rug and bounded toward the glass door Marcus now opened. The dogs burst onto the patio, tails wagging, tongues lolling, 2 110-pound Rottweilers radiating muscle. To Marcus, they were family. To uninvited guests, they looked like embodied consequences. Screams fractured the humid air. The speaker crashed to the deck as someone stumbled. A kid bolted toward the gate, towel flying. The burger man dropped a spatula. Patties sizzled forgotten. One woman shrieked, "Pit bulls." Wrong breed, but panic cared little for taxonomy. Shadow trotted to a picnic blanket, sniffing potato chip crumbs. Tank ambled poolside, head tilted, curious about the floating swan. But perception beat reality, guests vaulted fences, forgot flip-flops, clawed at the gate's broken latch until it split wider. Karen, still dripping in Naomi's robe, scrambled across wet pavers. "Call 911. He's released attack dogs." Marcus stood at the doorway, arms folded, the picture of stillness. "Leave my property," he said. "The dogs are home. You're the intruders." In less than 60 seconds the yard emptied. Car doors slammed. Engines revved. Balloons bobbed alone at the mailbox like forgotten party favors. Karen lingered last, soaked robe clinging to her frame, mascara streaked. "You'll regret this," she hissed. Marcus picked up the fallen speaker, powered it on, and calmly cued Coltrane's Equinox. Saxophone floated over pool ripples while Karen retreated, barefoot, dignity trailing like a broken leash. Inside, Marcus exhaled slowly. Adrenaline ebbed, replaced by a programmer's instinct, back up everything. He downloaded footage from perimeter cameras, cars on lawn, gate forced open, Karen sipping beer mid-pool. Evidence, neatly packaged. Naomi would be home soon, and explanations would be easier with video. He set the takeout on the counter, reheated rice, and texted his wife. "Wild story when you get home. Food's warm. Love you." Through the kitchen window the pool shimmered innocently, but Marcus knew the evening's calm sat atop fault lines Karen had cracked wide open. Naomi pulled into the driveway 40 minutes later, eyes widening at the tire tracks on the lawn and the stray Solo cup bobbing near the bushes. Marcus met her at the door with a rueful smile and a plate of reheated pad thai. While she ate, he recounted every detail. The balloons, Karen in the robe, the Unleash the Hounds finale. Naomi listened in stunned silence, chopsticks paused mid-air. So she just made herself at home. In every sense. Marcus tapped his phone, showing Naomi the camera clips. Karen's voice rang through the outdoor mic, smug and crystal clear, just a small HOA gathering. Naomi's chopsticks clacked onto the plate. "We're pressing charges, right?" "Yes, but I want to assemble the cleanest case possible. Trespass, theft of services, electricity, water, beer, property damage to the gate." And her little, "you people," comment. Naomi nodded. That one stung. She'd heard enough from Karen in passing to know exactly which undertones rode the phrase. They spent the next hour itemizing losses: 3 racks of craft beer, 2 bags of charcoal, half a propane tank, 36 burgers and dogs, Naomi's robe, now towel-stained, chlorine tablets, and a skewed gate mechanism. Marcus's meticulous spreadsheets finally found a use beyond bug triage. Just after 10 p.m., Naomi pointed to the porch camera's live feed. Headlights swept across the siding, a sedan idled at the curb. That her? Marcus zoomed in, Karen's Lexus. The driver's door opened but she didn't step out. Instead, a phone flash flickered as she photographed the fence, the lawn, maybe hoping to document damage inflicted by Marcus's dogs. He hit the record shortcut. Evidence. Minutes later an email pinged, Rosewood Park HOA, formal notice of violation. The subject line alone was absurd, he wasn't under their authority. The body alleged intentional intimidation with dangerous animals, creating a hostile environment, racial hostility toward community members. CC'd were the entire 5-member board and, bizarrely, Marcus himself. Naomi threw up her hands. Hostile environment? We didn't invite 30 strangers to swim in our yard. Marcus drafted a brief reply. Not subject to HOA governance. Your president and guests trespassed. Evidence attached. He appended 3 stills, Karen breaking the gate latch, guests drinking, dogs peacefully sniffing chips. Then he blind copied their lawyer, Julian Wright, whom he retained 2 years earlier for title review. Another ding, Karen again, doubling down, please do not manipulate footage to incriminate innocent neighbors. The board will review. Naomi laughed. She's rattled. Marcus agreed, yet he sensed this was only opening skirmish. Karen's power lay in bureaucratic persistence, she thrived on forms, complaints, and the slow grind that exhausted ordinary people. Good thing Marcus lived and breathed ticketing systems and escalation charts. The following morning, Julian Wright phoned. Saw the email chain. Classic overreach. First step, send cease and desist for harassment, trespass, and defamation. Also notify police. Even if charges aren't pressed yet, a report establishes a foundation. By noon, Marcus sat across from Officer Delgado at the county sheriff's annex. He turned over USB drives, gate damage, pool party, Lexus on curb, and filed a statement. Delgado, a stocky veteran of suburban spats, whistled low when he saw the robe clip. Bold move, he muttered. We'll log criminal trespass and theft of services. DA will decide. That evening Naomi scrolled community Facebook groups. The chatter was already humming, anyone know why police were at Willow Lane? Someone posted a blurry shot of Shadow loping across the patio with the caption, Pit Bull attack. Comments splintered into rumors, kids bitten, homeowner unstable, HOA overstepping. Marcus decided to control the narrative before it mutated. He uploaded a short, unedited video, no commentary, showing Karen floating, Marcus's calm demand to leave, dogs entering, guests fleeing. He titled it, Unauthorized HOA Party at Private Residence. Within an hour, likes and shocked emojis exploded. Neighbors he'd never met tagged each other, that's Bennett's place. Thought it was community pool. Karen's profile went conspicuously silent. Naomi refreshed the thread every 5 minutes, watching supportive comments pile up, not even in the HOA, leave the man alone. Literal trespass, WTH. Marcus answered only once, appreciate the concern. Let's keep discussion factual. Police report filed. Night settled. Marcus sat on the deck, feet in the cool water, dogs curled nearby. Naomi brought 2 beers from the few remaining. To boundaries, she said, clinking bottles. He nodded. And to receipts. Somewhere beyond dark maples, Karen likely drafted fresh complaints. Let her. Facts were binary, like code, gate broken equals true, property line equals constant, you people, remark equals recorded. And the compile step. Court. 2 days later, Saturday dawned bright and too early. Marcus's phone buzzed with a ring notification, motion detected, front yard. He rolled over, half expecting Karen's Lexus. Instead, a man in khakis snapped photos of the facade, measuring tape dangling from his belt. Marcus pulled on jeans and stepped outside. Morning. Can I help you? The stranger adjusted wire-rimmed glasses. HOA compliance inspection. Marcus raised an eyebrow. I'm not in the HOA. The man shrugged. Boundary expansion petition pending. Directive is to document current conditions. Boundary expansion. Marcus repeated. Who filed that? He smiled blandly. President and council filed for annexation citing community interest. Have a good day. He walked briskly to a Honda Accord plastered with HOA inspection team magnets and drove off.